Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a closer look at the Frame 4000D RS ARGB. This case we've got here. Now actually there was a video that went out a couple of days ago which we did an unboxing of this, and I probably didn't go into enough detail on the fans themselves, so from some of your viewer feedback I've decided to take a closer look at the fans and also show you the colours, the speed options, noise levels, all that kind of stuff, and how to control the RGB, because I think I probably didn't explain that well enough. So just to make it completely clear, I wanted to make a standalone video to help out. So if you are planning on getting either these fans, the Corsair RS120 ARGB fans, or you're buying a case which already has them, this video should be very helpful to help you set the fans up, set up your RGB and get the right noise levels. So we'll start off with the RGB side of things. Now these fans are very good in the fact that they don't require Corsair's iCUE software, they don't use any proprietary connections, and they can be used with any modern motherboard which supports the standard 5V 3-pin addressable ARGB connection. Pretty much most boards in the last 5 years roughly, possibly a little bit longer, have that connection on them. There's a few notable exceptions. One of the ASRock boards we reviewed a while back has no RGB on it at all, but if you're into RGB, make sure you've got that on your motherboard. Alternatively, if you don't actually have an ARGB controller actually on your motherboard, you can use a standalone dedicated controller. These are often manufactured by Chinese companies and you can get them on AliExpress, Alibaba, all that kind of stuff. Or if you look on Amazon, you can get one such as the GameMax V4, which we've reviewed previously. That's a fantastic little controller, and again, if you want to simplify and not have to use software, you can just plug in your ARGB to that. It's also PWM as well, so you can also power your fans from it as well. The two things are separate. So for those of you that are wondering about fans, you've got two sides of the equation. So on one side of it, you've got your PWM, or the power, and on the other side you've got your ARGB, which is the lighting. And generally most fans these days are both PWM and ARGB compatible, which means that of the fan itself there's generally going to be two wires, one of which is a 4-pin PWM and the other one is a 3-pin 5V addressable ARGB. Just to clarify, these do not use any form of proprietary Corsair technology or connections or anything like that. They don't require a hub of any sort. You can just daisy chain them and plug them straight into your motherboard, or like I've said, into a compatible ARGB 5V 3-pin controller. That's going to be absolutely fine. So we've got it running at the moment. You can see the fans lit up. They're actually really nice fans in terms of the color. It's quite a nice intense color option on there. You can, of course, if you want to, change the colors to any particular color you like. I will say as well, the fans, because some of you may be used to previous Corsair models where you have the kind of chase effect where the color will shift from one fan to the other, because these are using a standard digital 5V 3-pin addressable ARGB and they're just daisy chained together, essentially each fan is just going to be repeating exactly the same. So if you had one, it would look like that. If you have two, it's just double that. If you have three, obviously it's going to be the same. And if you connect anything else up into the system as part of the daisy chain or on some kind of hub, all of the devices connected are going to do exactly the same thing. There may be some slight differences due to the amount of physical LEDs actually in the hubs or in the fans or in the strip or whatever it is. If you've got a rainbow effect, you may find that it kind of overlaps at some places. But in general, if you're setting a static color, you shouldn't notice any problems at all. But essentially, yeah, it is just a very simple digital connection which tells the LEDs to change color at a certain point. So hopefully that's clarified that. So next, let's take a look at the connectivity. So I've disconnected the equipment here. So from the fans, you've got all your connectors and literally they just daisy chain. They are pre-daisy chained actually inside the packaging, so you don't have to worry about any of that. If you do want to extend or add on more addressable ARGB devices, you can do so via hub, or alternatively, there are some extra leads off the top one here. So these are the female plugs, and you can just plug in additional fans and additional ARGB should you wish to. Realistically, for most devices, I would say don't connect more than 3 devices, possibly 4 at a push. So you could add another fan in the back and connect it up to here. That's pretty much going to be fine depending on your motherboard's characteristics. Do check your motherboard to make sure it will actually output enough power to power all those devices without burning out the controllers, which is generally a bad thing. Anyway, so we've got our daisy chain, as you can see, going on down through here. So one fan connects into the next, etc. And then last of all, you've got these two leads which come out of the fans. So one of which is our 4-pin PWM connection. So this is the one which talks to your motherboard or a separate controller, and the motherboard will tell the fans what speed to rotate at, and will also use one of the pins on here to actually sense the rotation speed of those fans. So again, it can report it back to your motherboard software or into the BIOS, whichever you choose to do. The other side of the equation is for the lighting. So this is the 3-pin 5-volt addressable ARGB. Extremely common, has been used for quite a long time now, and almost every motherboard that I've seen for quite a long time has this type of connection. Again, alternatively, if your motherboard doesn't have that or you want to use something else, you can use standalone controllers such as the GameMax V4, Nollies, etc. There's lots of other things you can use. Some cases actually have built-in controller hubs, so you can press a button on the case to cycle through your different color options. If you want to, you can plug it into those as well. That isn't a problem. So with all that said and all that done, I'm now going to plug these into the motherboard. So let's just quickly show you how to do that. So we'll start off with the ARGB plug. So take your ARGB plug, locate the header on your motherboard, which has normally got 3 pins sticking out, and there's a small gap in between them. So that is which way round you know it goes. These can be a little bit fiddly, don't always go on first time, so you might have to take a few attempts at it, but plug it into your motherboard header. Then it's going to transfer the motherboard's data into this port, and then that's going to allow you to control your lighting via sources such as MSI Center using their Mystic Light, or if you want to use something like Open RGB or Signal RGB, those types of things, you can use that to control your lighting styles. On the other side of the fence, again, we've got our PWM. So this is what actually powers the rotation of the fans and also keeps a record or keeps you notified of the RPM. Again, in the MSI Center, there's a separate section there for cooling. I think it's called Cooling Wizard. And again, it will report back information into there, and also you can make adjustments to the system, changing the fan profile or fan curves or fan speeds based on a certain predefined limit. So temperature wise, you've got a scale going one way and you've got speed going the other. So you just work out how fast you want the fans to spin at a certain CPU or system case temperature. Anyway, probably getting a little bit too much into it. So essentially that is it. So that plugs into a PWM header on your motherboard, and this one plugs into an ARGB header on your motherboard again, or can plug into built-in case hubs, that sort of stuff, or a standalone hub should you need to. Anyway, we covered that enough now. So I'm going to plug these in, and now we'll look at some software and do some measurements of the noise and also the RPMs of the fans, and also we'll take a look at some lighting options. So here we are in MSI's Mystic Light. Again, depending on your setup or configuration, you may be using something like ASUS Armoury Crate or Gigabyte Control Center, etc. Or if you want to, something like Signal RGB or Open RGB, those types of things. So here we have our motherboard header, which is what we've just plugged the fans into in terms of our lighting style. So as you can see, it just shows motherboard. So that means that all of the devices connected to that header will be doing exactly the same thing. So you won't have individual control of the individual fans. So in our daisy chain, we've got 3 fans. They will all be replicating the same as the first fan. So the first fan will do the same as the second fan, as the third fan, etc., etc. And also any strips connected to that daisy chain or to the motherboard itself will be seen as one single header. Now, some boards will be slightly different. Gigabyte do actually in their software show you the different headers, so you can control things differently, but that is kind of like a remote case, doesn't happen often. Anyway, so to change the lighting style, so at the moment we're set to the wave style. So if you want to, you can change it to the breathing one, click on apply, and hopefully that is now going to replicate onto the fans. Yep, that is now in the breathing pattern. You can also go to CPU temperature. Again, some software will have different settings here, but just so you can get an idea. So you change that, and now it's gone to green because the system is relatively cool. That's fine. Also, you've got things like the color cycle, which for some reason doesn't appear to work particularly well on my system. It seems to just hang on red, which I think is possibly an issue with MSI Center, but that's by the by. But essentially, if your software will allow it, it will then cycle through the colors. Also, you can make it so it goes to music, etc., etc. Or if you want to, you can turn them all off click on apply, and it will turn all of the fans off because it's all connected to that simple header. So let's go back into wave mode, or unicorn puke as it's affectionately known, and we'll get back to basics. So that is the RGB lighting. So there's no real other control other than changing the colors. And again, they will all be doing exactly the same thing. You won't get any options for making one fan do one thing and another fan doing another, because they're all on a daisy chain. You would need a separate controller to enable those types of features. Speaking of features, let's go into MSI's Cooling Wizard. And we'll go into System Fan Header 2, which is the one it's physically connected to, as we showed you a little bit earlier on. So currently at the moment, the fan RPMs are around about 550-ish, give or take, 530, 540. It does fluctuate a little bit. Now with these fans, the RS120 ARGBs, they have a minimum rotational speed of 400 RPMs. They will go down to 0, so potentially if you want to have it so your fans do stop, they will facilitate that, so they will drop down to 0 RPM should you wish to. Maximum speed is somewhere around the 2200 RPM, so 2200. Again, it does fluctuate a little bit, so it goes from kind of 2000 to 2200. But I just wanted to give you an idea of noise levels. So at the very lowest level, which on this system seems to be 20% of the PWM value. So if we drop that down, that should drop down now to around about 400 or so. And I'll be quiet so you can hear what that sounds like. Now you may have heard everything's going on in the house, but not much I can do about that. So let's move it up to around about 25%, which I think most people would be relatively happy with. So there we're going to be about 25%, which is going to be around about 540 RPM. And now let's take it up a notch. We'll take it up to 50%. So at 50%, we're looking in a region around about 1100 RPM, maybe 1050. It does drop down a little bit. Noise level has increased. And now we'll take it up to 75%. So there we have 75%, and we're in about, well, it's fluctuating quite a lot there. So between 1530 up to 1630, there is a little bit of strangeness going on there in terms of the RPM values. But there you go, and there is an example of the noise level. And now we'll take it all the way up to pretty much 100%. It'll be 99 because it's hard to actually get it to go that. And you can hear it already. I'll be quiet a minute and you can hear what it actually sounds like. So we'll take that down to a more acceptable level, back to around about 20%-ish, at which point it is virtually silent. It does take a little while for the RPMs to ramp up and ramp down on these particular fans. That is due to the PWM controller in the fans themselves. You can actually adjust it very slightly in the BIOS to have a quicker reaction time, but mostly you're going to be restricted to what the PWM controller is actually able to do itself. So there you go, there is a slightly more in-depth look at the RS120 ARGB fans, which are included with the Frame 4000D RS ARGB case. Hopefully this video has clarified some things in terms of both RGB in general, or ARGB I should say to be correct, and also PWM and how that all works. And hopefully now after seeing this video, you'll know whether or not these are going to be the right fans for you in this particular instance. Whether you use them in a Corsair case, whether you use them in another brand, that is, again, is entirely up to you. These are not locked into the Corsair ecosystem in any way, shape or form. You can use them with any addressable ARGB controller, as long as it supports, obviously, what we've said already, the 5V 3-pin addressable RGB and the 4-pin PWM, which is pretty much the industry standard at this point. Anyway, hopefully this video has been useful to you. If it has, smash that like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, maybe consider hitting subscribe. And also, if you do, click on all notifications. That way you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. And hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.